Hey, thanks for stopping by the Eyes Open Network. I have information now that Hillary Clinton, John McCain, David Petraeus, and other war hawks, if you will, have long called for a no-fly zone over Syria. I wonder why. The U.S. is now sending F-15's jets to Syria. That has been covered by, and that came to us from the Zero Hedge website. I'll leave links from our sources in the description below the video. That should terrify Al-Qaeda, right? So sending F-15s in there should just scare the crap out of the moderate terrorists and the Al-Qaeda and all the ISIS and everything, right? Nope. Al-Qaeda leaders are actually begging for the U.S. to impose no-fly zones. Al-Qaeda agreeing with Hillary Clinton, John McCain, David Petraeus? Well, American reporter Reese Ulrich interviewed several top Al-Qaeda leaders recently in an area including Abu Qatada. And they told him that they feel that the U.S. has been too weak in Syria, and America should have introduced shoulder-fired missiles to shoot down Assad's planes long ago and set up a no-fly zone over Syria. Again. Ulrich continued to say that Al-Qaeda sides with Clinton, McCain, and Petraeus in calling for U.S.-imposed no-fly zone. Now, why would they do that? Well, the Al-Qaeda leaders explained to Ulrich that in the short run, increased U.S. intervention would topple the Syrian leader Assad, Bashar al-Assad, who is one of Al-Qaeda's main enemies. And in the long run, they explained Al-Qaeda would end up with all of the U.S. provided weapons, and so that they would be able to take over Syria. Well, folks, a no-fly zone, if you don't know what it is a designated area over in which aircraft may not fly without risk of interception, especially during a conflict. Okay? So, meaning that no-fly zone, planes can't fly. They're not permitted to fly over there. Okay? Then if they do, they're violating it and they're able to be shot down. So, the U.S. is moving in F-15 jets, which are designed for air-to-air combat. Okay, so they're not in there to kill ISIS. They're not going in there to kill the terrorists. They're there to fight other. Obviously, they're being brought into Turkey. That's where they're being put in right now, to Turkey, and being set up for this. So are they setting up a no-fly zone already? Because then they can enforce the no-fly zone. So any planes, Russian, Syrian, particularly Syrian, I'm sure. But it also sets up for more of a problem, right? Now, why would they want to do this? Well, they obviously don't like Russia and their coalition of Iran and Syrian air forces bombing the crap out of ISIS, okay, or bombing the crap out of quote-unquote moderate rebels, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, ISIL, everything. They're all the same, okay? They're funded by the U.S. government, CIA. They don't like that, so they need to come up with a plan. Remember, Russia started doing this major airstrikes and knocking out ISIS and the ground forces, regaining land in Damascus, Aleppo, and various different strong fronts where Bashar al-Assad's forces lost ground. So they're setting this up. This is their plan. I mean, you can't. I have a lot of people saying out there that actually it sounds like America just packed up and they've lost the Middle East. No. They're not going to put in all these trillions of dollars going in there to oust Bashar al-Assad and invade a sovereign country and just give up because Russia, flexed some muscle and challenged them a little bit on what they were actually really doing. No. They're actually in there to take out Bashar al-Assad and then take out Syria. Okay, so their plan now is to warrant the no-fly zone. So they have to do that. Now, how would you do that? How would it warrant to everybody to say, yeah, there is a no-fly zone, and make it valid? Well, you start killing civilians. Civilians got to die, right? So then they say, well, hey, have you noticed in mainstream media lately, especially in the last week, maybe even 2 weeks, Russia has been killing, in their airstrikes, not only are they killing ISIS and bombing terrorists in that area, which is good, right? You would think that's good. But they're also apparently hitting civilians and killing them collateral damage, if you will. Oh, and they're hitting hospitals and really bad things like Americans did. Americans hit a hospital. That's, they admitted that. But now they're also saying the Russians did that. But, whoa. And that sounds bad. Don't get me wrong. I agree with that. That civilians is horrible. Any civilians' deaths. There's hundreds of thousands of them being killed in this World War III scenario already. But the U.S. State Department recently started commenting, and the mainstream media followed it, with that the Russians hit a hospital. Now, recently, that on mainstream media came out and they started to talk about that, but then they backed off. They haven't been covering it as much on CNN and other mainstream media newscasts. But the State Department stood by it that it got hit. So they keep throwing out this propaganda. Now, how do we know it's propaganda? Because they won't tell us what hospital it hit. They're talking about, they have to justify why they can put a no-fly zone in, right? It's too dangerous for everybody to have all these airstrikes and just crazy planes flying over the place. Really, the story is to stop the Russian coalition, Syria, Iran, Russia, to stop killing all of the CIA-funded bad guys, quote-unquote moderates, right? So they hit a hospital. Now, when you ask the State Department to show proof that they actually blew up a hospital and killed everybody, this is what we get. Watch this. It's super interesting.
This morning, RT interviewed the Director of Operations at the International Committee of the Red Cross, Dominic Stillhart, and we asked him about allegations that Russia bombed hospitals in Syria, and he said that Red Cross personnel on the ground in Syria have not reported any such incidents. Do you have any evidence that Russia bombed hospitals in Syria?
We have seen some press reporting to that end. We have seen some Syrian civil society groups say that. And I would tell you that we have other operational information that lead us to believe that that Russian targeting has not only not been focused on ISIL, but has in fact caused collateral damage and some civilian casualties, to include some civil infrastructure. And so, yes, we've seen some information that would lead us to believe that Russian military aircraft did hit a hospital.
Can you share evidence of that? Those are very serious allegations. Reports are not enough, are they? Can you offer
I think I just
something
did.
More solid than reports?
I think I just did. I said we have operational reporting that would lead us to believe that that's the case.
Can you share that?
No, I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to share intelligence and operational information here from this podium. You asked me a very direct question. I gave you a direct answer. We have reason to believe that happened.
Can you really offer no details on the hospital that the U.S. accuses Russia of hitting?
We're going to stand by Mr. Kirby's words.
You're not even going to say where it is, that hospital that you're saying Russia hit?
What we're saying is that we have seen information that Russia is targeting civilian infrastructure.
But
and we would point you to the Syrian NGOs on the ground, as well as open source reporting on that.
He spoke about a specific hospital in Syria. Where exactly is it? What details can you offer about that hospital?
Again, I'm not going to get into this sort of detail of operational assessment for this. Maybe you should speak to the Russians on their targeting.
Well, they have.
Clearly, either she or her colleagues have spoken to the Russians about it, and they say that you're wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay? Isn't it incumbent on you to come up with some, even a location? It doesn't seem like it would be that difficult or violate any kind of intelligence sources and methods to say where exactly it is that you're talking about when you make the accusation. That's the first thing, and then the second thing is you've just expanded it quite broadly to say not just hospitals. You said that the Russians are actually targeting civilian infrastructure.
Thank you, Matt. Actually, the Russians have hit. Thank you for the.
Are they targeting?
No, they've hit. And
okay, so they're not targeting civilian infrastructure.
No, and thank you for that.
Ma'am, Well, details are especially relevant. This morning, the Russian Defense Ministry has released images and video of the hospital in Sarmin, which was allegedly hit by Russia. And these images, they show the building of the hospital, which doesn't look like it was recently bombed. I printed them out just in case you haven't seen them. I can show them. Can you see why it's important for the U.S. to show its evidence of the alleged destruction of a hospital by Russia?
How about this? I'll take your question. If there's information we can share, we'll get back to you. Okay.
Now, I don't know about you. I have no idea. I don't know about you. But does that seem like they're just trying to avoid giving proof? Like, I mean, really? And then even the Associated Press, not only the RT journalists trying to pry and get the information, which makes sense, even the Associated Press journalist was disturbed by this. Why wouldn't they just tell it? It's not any national security to tell where a stationary hospital, civilian hospital is. Why wouldn't they just share and tell them what it is? Well, I mean, if you have any kind of common sense and know what's really going on here and have been following the Eyes Open Network and other alternative media sources, we know that they are making this up. It's not true. They didn't do it. They didn't bomb any hospital. If they did, they would show video. They would show footage. They would say, this is where it is. This is it. Look at all these people are dead. They would run with that like crazy. But that's not what they're doing because that didn't happen. And for us to listen to mainstream media and just take everything for word what they do and say would be absolutely wrong because it leads us further into World War III, which we're already involved with. But as you can see now, what Hillary Clinton, John McCain, and David Petraeus and other U.S. officials want to do is create a no-fly zone. Why? Because Hillary Clinton, John McCain, and all these people have been putting all of their efforts into providing these terrorist groups weapons and ammunition and gaining ground, and they're actually on the doorstep of Syria, and they're going to take out Bashar al-Assad, and all of a sudden Russia comes in to save them. Well, they have to do something. They have to, the gig's up. They have to stop them from doing this, so they have to impose. Now, what will this do? As you can, I pulled up a map here of the area. If you're unfamiliar with the Middle East and what's going on, we're talking about Syria right in here. Okay, this is where the Russian airliner went down, by the way, out here in this area. Took off from down here and was in the sky there. For other stories on the Russian airliner of that, take a look at the other videos in the on our channel here at the Eyes Open Network. But it's in here is where they want to put a no-fly zone in. And the fighter jets, the F-15 U.S. planes, already en route to support the 50 special forces, which we know it's hundreds, if not thousands, of troops already in Syria. They got caught. Remember, the one died. So they have to say, well, yeah, we're already there. It's not like they're putting 50 in. They already have hundreds or thousands, if not troops, already in there. Okay? We're just not seeing it all because the media blackouts and everything in those areas. That's why you don't see a lot of this on the ground. You have to go through alternative media sources to find them. World War III is already in this area. This is where it's happening. Okay, and another story even just came out this morning, which we'll cover in another video as well. France is now getting involved. They're sending their aircraft carrier in there to support the coalition as well. So, and the airstrikes. This area, folks, is the hotbed. This is where World War III is intensified, right in here. And if they put this no-fly zone in, it opens it up for all kinds of things to happen. Because Russia doesn't want to go along with that. That's for sure. It's going to be hard for them to agree to that, because they know that they are pushing back the terrorists from Bashar al-Assad in Syria, both in Damascus, Aleppo in the north, and up in this area in here. Okay, so they're making grounds and they're doing that. They're not going to want to do that. So what's going to happen is we're probably going to see air-to-air combat, or we're going to see more planes in the near future here start to come down. Regardless if there's a no-fly zone implemented or not, but I would watch in the mainstream media, watch for more reports from us and alternative media on following this story, because they're going to push harder and harder for this no-fly zone. And whether it happens or not, you're going to start to see not I'm not going as far as to seeing air-to-air combat happening, but you're going to see planes start dropping from the sky, whether that be from missiles or anything. The U.S. is not going to stand by and let this happen. This is the plan. It's probably their soft plan is to put a no-fly zone in that protects everything in that area from being bombed and slow things down. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, ISIL, the Islamic State, moderate rebels, whatever the heck you want to call them, they're not liking what's going on, and they're telling their U.S. counterparts that are supplying them with supplies that they can't last with these airstrikes coming in from such a strong force and accuracy from Russia that is happening. So what they need to have happen is something, and this is the next move from the United States government, backed by and being pushed by Hillary Clinton, John McCain, and David Petraeus. Thanks again for watching. Keep your eyes open, folks. Listen to all, believe nobody, including us, and do your own research. I'll leave sources for where this information came from in the description below. Check out the eyesopennetwork.com and subscribe to our channel and share this video with others and like it. And that will show us that you are appreciating what we're doing and bringing you as many different angles to the stories that are developing around the world right now. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.